Nairobi is quite an interesting city. It has different characteristics that gives it its soul, and a true Nairobian will tell you can find everything you're looking for here, from old buildings and a more modest lifestyle to its skyscrapers and the luxury lifestyle. Pretty much everything in between. That said, whether you're a visitor or a local, there are a couple of things that one should do or have done to say they've had the true Nairobi experience. And in this episode, I'd be showing you a couple of inexpensive things that you can do or you should have done just to have banter and say, yeah, I've had that Nairobi experience. Anyway, welcome to my channel. My name is Sugar and I do videos about the world around me. So please, if you like that content, do well to subscribe, share this video as well. I think it's interesting. And don't forget to like and comment. Share your experience of these basic things with me or what you think I've missed in this video and I should include. That said, let's get started. The first thing on this list for me will totally be taking a matatu. Sometimes they're called mats or my3s, but basically these are just buses that carry you from place to place in Nairobi. Figuring out this system is quite complex as you have to know how much to pay, what time, at what stage to stop at, and it's a bit complicated, but my pro tip usually is start from the CBD. Really, these things have their own style and soul, also depending on the route you're using, but it's quite the experience because different things always happens on matatus. So yeah, it will definitely introduce you to the proper chaos that is Nairobi, but oh well. Anyway, the next thing on this list for me will be to visit the Uhuru Park. Alright, it doesn't necessarily have to be Uhuru Park. It can be Karura Forest, Paradise Lost, Arboretum, or even the Central Park right opposite. But really, for me, it doesn't make sense to have been in Nairobi and you have never experienced even one of the many green spaces Nairobi has to offer. I picked Uhuru Park in particular just because it's free, it's safe, and it's in the heart of town. And it's easy to access. But be aware that to get in, just like any other place in Nairobi, you need identification. The place was recently renovated by the time I was making this video, and its new design is just to show you what Nairobi should look like, which is basically the savannah and the tall buildings at the same time. I find that ironic, but really beautiful. Anyway, I used to come here back in the day to watch the sunset, and nowadays they even have viewpoints for that. I particularly love the fact that you can see the CBD from the park and it is so beautiful. And I do miss the fact that there are games within the park. Nowadays, those games are on the side of the park, sort of like a children's corner, and they're super affordable. But Sugar is gonna go at her big age, okay? That said, I totally encourage you to visit Uhuru Park or any of these green spaces that Nairobi has to offer because you should take a breather, a walk, even a picnic, and leave the hustle and bustle of the city, breathe. On this particular day, I came across this mobile recording studio, which is a cool initiative by the government to promote local access. So basically, this studio goes from wards to wards in Nairobi, which are like districts, and they work with the MCA, which are local ward heads, to get local artists who are registered and cannot afford to pay studio time to come record their music and do their art. So I think it's one of the ways that they're providing jobs and finances and just keeping people off the streets and not being idle to do something that they enjoy and really love. I particularly found it so cool, and these guys inside here were such a great vibe. Remember?
I just wanted when after Benza, immediately after Benza.
Yeah. Lol, anyway, that's it for Uhuru Park. But before we leave, one of the park cultures is to get ice cream. At your own risk? Really? Forget ice cream. Let's get to the next thing. Now, the third item on this list of things to do to experience Nairobi is to visit a photo or art gallery. It's a pretty popular concept here and you'll find them in almost every space, a mall or a set gallery designed just for that. The particular one that we are visiting in this video is My Great Nairobi Galleries at the GTC Towers in Westlands. It's a very beautiful space and I particularly found it, really chill and nice. But to some extent, I think it was underwhelming because there isn't much to see there, honestly. Then again, if you're trying to find an inexpensive or completely totally free space to visit and still do the gallery experience, you should go here. Also, the gallery is attached to a mall and next to a food court, and it has that beautiful mural. It makes it worth it. The next place I would totally encourage anyone to visit is a museum, because that's the best way to know the history of a people, where they've come from, why they function the way they function. And this particular one is in the heart of town. It's called the Kenyan National Archives, and it's super affordable to get in. It's totally a landmark. You cannot miss it. Every bus stops here. That said, on this particular day, I was unable to go in because of something I personally was dealing with, but I've been here before. And I find it really, really good, especially for the price. It's also in the heart of town, and all you need to get in is literally an eCitizen account. Everybody has one as long as you're in Kenya. And finally, my best part of the Nairobi experience is eating at one of these fish and chips joints in the heart of Nairobi. There are a couple of these within the CBD, and literally everybody and their mom have eaten here at some point in their life, because if you have not, I don't understand you. I remember when I just got to Nairobi and I asked my friends, what can we do? They literally took me to one of those spots and I was like, okay, this is extremely new. Funny enough, when you step into these buildings, you can tell how well maintained they are and how old these buildings are as well. And you would never pay with card or mobile money. You only pay with cash. I find that pretty interesting. Another unique thing about this place is you only eat in those brown bags that they'll give you. Yes. At first, they used to eat in the polythene bags, but the polythene bags were banned in Nairobi. So now they put your meals in this brown paper thing, and that's how you're going to eat it. Nothing more. It is an entirely fast food place with seats. I find it so beautiful. There's something about it. You get in there and you get a feeling that you get nowhere else in Nairobi. It just has a soul to it. It's not crowded, funny enough, because there are many, and so you'd always have a seat, unless actually it's never been crowded since I ever got in there. And food is usually very cheap. The thing has a Texas old vintage back in the day thing going on. At least it looks like what we see in old movies. But yeah, despite all of that, it just has a Nairobi thing. It's so Nairobi culture. It is so Nairobi culture. Another thing too is just always eating fries and sauce. Like everybody is literally eating the same meal around you. I love that. But yeah, it's a thing that excites me very much. And I'm just like, if you come to Nairobi, you have to do this. You have to do this. Totally. Also, you'll find out that a lot of these fish and chip joints are within buildings, and you'll think that it's hot or uncomfortable, but actually not. The spaces are well ventilated. They have a ventilation system that amazes me. And yeah, that to me is also a very unique thing about it. I love the fact that there are mirrors everywhere all around you, and there's always music. So it's literally almost always a vibe. Nobody bothers you. You can be alone in these spaces. You can have a group of friends. Nobody really bothers you. Fun fact is, I have never seen fish being sold at a fish and chip joint. Yeah, I've never. Well, that said, we've come to the end of this video, and please leave a comment about which of this you've experienced and what you thought about it. I know locals will just be like, this is our everyday life, but yes, that's the whole point. It's a video about the everyday life of a Nairobian. Alright, see you next video. Bye.